And that 5-year run started because of one of the goats, one of the Gator goats, Ahmad Black, started the show with us. A lot of those early.
Baby, what it do?
Yeah.
What up, 3-5?
Welcome.
What's going on? What's going on?
Man, vibes, man. Vibes, man. Hey, first of all, man, thanks for starting this with us, man. I know you had to transition and do some other things in life. Let me cut this ring off, man. Like it's my first podcast or something. But thanks for starting. Initially reached out to you with this idea. You were down with it, man, and I consider you as a friend in real life. You know, I know you have social media, we have podcasts, but me and you have a different connection in real life, bruh. So I want to, first of all, thank you for being a part of the start of this whole thing, man.
Man, look, it was an honor. You know what I mean? I'm one of the guys that obviously played at the University of Florida, but I love speaking football. You know what I mean? Whether it's Gator football, whether it's and outside source of football, U.S. football, Canadian football, however you want to look at it, bro. Rival football, I get on there and take jabs at rivals too, man. So, it's just an honor. I was just in there playing NCAA football, man, and this dude get on there. He was like, "Man, you the real Ahmad Black?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro." Dude, like, I'm from Kentucky, man. Y'all used to kick our butt, and I'm like, "Well, we gotta spin the block because right now we ain't." So. But every little chance I get, man, I just love speaking ball. So I appreciate you guys.
So, Ahmad, I said I felt a little fraudulent because I haven't been here for all 300, but I do appreciate the handoff.
Yeah,
the handoff. So I feel like we both had a part. It's good that you're the first guest tonight because you really got it started with Dan and Corey.
Absolutely, man. It's again, man. You took it and ran with it, man, and made it even better than I could, man. So I congratulate you guys on continuing it and keep going strong for Gator Nation.
I want to get into the Miami game eventually here, and we'll start talking about the season, man. But just leading up to like the end of last year, Corey Raymond leaving. I just want to get some secondary talk from you, my guy. What was your thoughts on the secondary play last year, Corey Raymond leaving, and what are you looking for as far as like adjustments and improving this year?
Corey Raymond was there last year, man, and obviously we didn't get the results that we kind of wanted and thought we would get, especially with him at the helm, man, just calling the plays and whatnot. Or I'm sorry, over the secondary. We gotta just make plays. I mean, it's not like we aren't there at times. Other times, man, we just we play lights out like we did against Tennessee, and then we'll turn around and play abysmal against someone else. So I think obviously we got to get a little bit more consistency in the back end, and it all starts from the front seven too. We give the back end all of the brunt of majority of the big plays and whatnot, because obviously those are the ones that's closer to the ball when it happens. But we got to get a pass rush, and all of it again goes hand in hand with each other. So with a better pass rush, I think we'll be better on the back end.
Here's something for you: a little cap or no cap, buy or sell. Jason Marshall, we were talking to him, and he said at some point he lost some confidence last year, and right. I think you could see that in the way he was playing. But when you're a cornerback and the guy behind you is an 18-year-old freshman, and granted Jordan Castell played well, but 600 snaps at 18 years old in the SEC is a lot. And then the other guy was a true sophomore, and then all of a sudden another true freshman back there. So how much does getting a guy like Asa Turner in, fifth-year senior, or getting a guy like Jordan Castell back, who's a sophomore on paper, but 600 snaps, you're not really a sophomore. You're a veteran now. Mm-hmm. How much can that help Florida? But also, like you said, if you're not getting a pass rush, you're not covering anybody for 8 seconds in the SEC.
Yeah. Asa Turner back there is a huge addition to our secondary. He's one of the guys that came in and played a lot of football, and that can be great for us. I had a chance to meet with him and speak with him a little bit, man. He looks good getting off the bus for sure. And I know he's made a lot of plays in his career. So again, a lot of that comes from game reps. I mean, you can look at maybe a little bit biased and whatnot, but an 07 defense compared to a 2008 defense, which is pretty much a lot of the same players, but a year maturity-wise netted great for us and also helped us out tremendously down the back end of games. when we're in weird environments and we can't hear. Guys that have kind of been experienced, regardless of they're a freshman last year. I mean, 600 snaps. That's great for anyone.
Ahmad, have you had the opportunity to talk with Will Harris much?
Yes. So me and Will probably text once or twice every other week or so.
Okay, cool. What's his personality like? I mean, you've had a lot of DB coaches around you, and there's a lot of excitement. I mean, I know he's big on Twitter and all of that, right? So some people see that part of his personality. They see some videos, but what's he like as a person, and what do you think he's going to be able to do with the players that he has?
Great, man. He's one of those guys that, again, is a football guy. He's always amped up about the game. We know a lot of mutual people from him being on the West Coast playing, being out there with Washington and SC. I played with a few SC guys, and Jimmy Lake was over at Tampa when I was in Tampa with Raheem. So we knew some of the same guys, man. They kind of like hit it really, really quickly, right off the bat, because we kind of both got the same goals, is to be great. And, obviously, we all get on Twitter and say whatever we want to say, at times, and because we love our team. We're so passionate about our team. We want our team to succeed, right? So I don't think there's any harm behind that. But, Will is one of those guys that I put all my faith into. Obviously, he hasn't been out there a game yet, but just what he has been able to do since he's been on campus has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
I talked to Will. He had just gotten the job. It was early signing day, and he's not even really a part of recruiting those guys because he got the job like the week before. And I remember talking to him. He's like, yeah, I'm flying back to LA to grab my stuff and come back. And I was like, do you know who your players are? He goes, no, but I got the iPad fired up and I'm going to watch them. I don't think the plane had landed at LAX. And then those offers to like DJ Douglas, Traquise Bridges, and Asa Turner went out. And I go, he watched the film. He saw the tackling. He watched the tackling last year, and he went out and said, hey, I need to go get some veterans that don't mind putting their face mask into somebody's chest, like 3-5 used to.
For sure. I was able to go to a position meeting with them as well, and just his passion about the game, man. He's fired up how he teaches the game. I've been in meetings where I just would much rather watch paint dry on the wall. He's not that type of coach, man. He's interactive with them. Make them have make almost constructive listening. Ask them questions to make sure that they know their assignment and what they need to do and get done.
Man, I don't know if you remember this, Ahmad, but a couple years ago, I drove out to Lakeland to go see the commitment ceremony, man.
And then I
drove out there. Hey, y'all hit the super chat, man. Definitely hit the super chat. If y'all have questions, we're answering questions and all of that. We appreciate everybody for hanging out with us, man.
Thanks,
the
Kyle.
fans definitely make all this go. We appreciate y'all. But I rolled out to Lakeland, and I took my son with me. Went out there for a commitment for Kamani McClain. And I ended up getting a surprise of my life. I just thought it was a slam dunk. And I called you right afterwards. I was like, bro, you weren't even watching the commitment. That's how
I was in I was doing the Florida Georgia Denny event.
Yeah. That's what I hit you up. I said, hey, man, because you was coaching at Lakeland. I was like, yo, do you know he just committed to Miami? You was like, for real? Long story short, Kamani McClain ended up going to Colorado. He's back into Gainesville now. There's been a lot of just, reports here and there about his progress so far at UF. But what's your overall feel on Kamani McClain, Lakeland guy you coach from your alma mater, now back at UF? What's your feel on him getting back into Florida?
I think it's phenomenal for both parties. We obviously in a situation where we can't lose. I mean, he's not a scholarship guy right now. So if it doesn't work out, all right, great, we try it. If it does work out, all right, give him a scholarship. Let's go. Right. For him, it's a little bit more at stake. Not saying this is his last chance, but could be at the D1 level immediate, like right now. I can see a situation where if he were to leave, he can, try to get his way back into D1. And I think he's good enough to. But right now, he's in a perfect situation to where he can maximize all of his opportunities. Everything that he's done wrong up until this point, it just goes out the window. Because now you don't look at it as, oh man, I messed up. It's a learning experience, right? So, the not showing up to things, being late to things, Those are things that you got to be, on top of, because you got to have some self accountability, right? Right now, when you go, if he was to go to the NFL right now, they will rip him apart in those meetings just from the allegations they've been reading on the internet. You see what I'm saying?
Word.
I'm telling you now, he can go out and be tremendous the next 2-3 years, and they still gonna bring it up.
For sure. Yeah, those character issues aren't going anywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's gonna follow you. So now is the time to clean it all up and say, hey, listen, I was a freshman. I was a red shirt freshman, sophomore, whatever, and I just had to learn the college life, learn how to be a collegiate football player. And I think that he could be great. I think he can. We ain't talking about his ability. I already know what his ability is. I'm telling you now, he's probably the best corner I've ever seen in high school football. It's not even close. Like, he can literally shut down the whole side of the field, and that's what he brings to the game. And I think he can do that. He just got to get acclimated on doing the things the right way. And again, self accountability.
Yeah, I think it's gonna come.
Go ahead.
No, I think I said this last show. I'll let you go, nigga. It's not even a question. I think it's gonna come down to him being able to adjust mentally as well. A kid that's been a superstar for a very long time. Our DB room is absolutely loaded with guys that can play, and they don't have the same issues as far as accountability and trying to like fix their character and fix their face a little bit in the program. So he's gonna have to be patient. Sit back, wait his time. That could get difficult if we start to lose games. So it's going to be a journey. I think he still got a little bit. I like to see the smile on his face when he's out there practicing. They got the picture clips that the football program put out. It looked like he's having a good time when the games get
some weight too.
Yeah, for sure. Put on some weight. What you have, Nick?
I'm enjoying that. Hold on. Oh, I know.
Well, when he first committed, I called Ahmad and I was like, "Hey, can you talk to him about Cormani? You coached him." Yep. And the thing is, like, what I put on our message board, just trying to tell people who were asking me questions about him, was like, hey, he's been late to stuff. And Ahmad, if I'm a freshman, you're a junior, senior, and I'm starting to show up late to stuff, and now you have to do extra conditioning because I'm late, you're not going to be happy with me. But, like, it's not a big thing. Like, you handle it internally. So I just put it on our board, and then a Miami fan gets it, throws it on the thing. But, like, he's not doing anything bad. He's just a 19-year-old kid who's immature. Oh, man. And, you're going to learn your lesson.
I mean, we had Swamp Kings come out. Everybody saw Swamp Kings.
Yeah.
It was just a pleasure.
I think you guys handled things a little differently than like the TikTok generation we have now.
Yeah, bro. So, with stuff like that, man, I just, get back to the Swamp Kings. It's like, you guys know we put a lot on there, but there was a lot of stuff we left off.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that, we didn't deal with dudes doing on their own show, right? Doing things how they want to do it. It's a team, right? Either you get in or you get hit in the face, and you got to go. So, I'm not saying somebody need to punch him in the face, but there do need to be somebody that say, hey, man, you with us or you not? You know what I mean? And it got to be one of those older guys. I mean, I think they can really get to him. I think one of the things that kind of, when I was at Lakeland, we had a couple issues with guys. I would just make everybody run. And then now, after you run over and over and over for the same person, you'll weed yourself out. Now, high school is different because all these dudes grew up with you. How many of them going to say, hey, bro, tighten up? Your real friends may. But in college, I ain't grew up with you. And I'm not about to keep running for you being late, not doing what you're supposed to do. So that's where the issue come in at. You know what I mean?
It's supposed to be my Sunday off day, and here I am at 6 a.m. at the stadium staring at these steps because of you. No way, sir. No, sir.
And then, all of those things, man. I think obviously can be held within. That was one thing that we pride ourselves on. Urban was always all about just keeping our business in house, and we didn't really tell a lot of people. Now, granted, we didn't have social media and stuff either. You know what I mean? But we kept everything in house because we're a family, and like the only thing that anybody outside of this room is going to do is try to keep up the commotion.
Right. All right, man. We heading into the season, bro. This is Billy's third year. For me personally, make or break year. I think they're gonna give him a little longer leash to see what DJ Lagway do. But me as a fan, my buy-in is like it's to this year. The roster's been flipped. Dan Mullen guys are gone. Where are you at with it as far as this whole regime and then year 3, Billy Napier. What are you looking to see is progression wise?
I mean, everybody keep counting us out, right? I mean, everywhere we turn, it's the Gators are going to, look terrible. The Gators going to do this, but when you really take a look at last season, as crappy as it was, we're probably maybe 4 or 5 plays away from having 3 or 4 wins.
Yeah,
I mean, let's call a spade a spade. I mean, that was that Missouri on 4th and whatever,
4th and 17.
Arkansas, we got too many men on the field or something like that. And
Florida State,
too many men.
that double reverse in Florida State.
Yeah.
That double reverse was crazy.
Listen. First off, if Graham doesn't channel his inner Tebow at Missouri and is able to play against Florida State after Jordan had his injury,
man, but was that 3rd down when he did that?
No, I think it was like a 2nd down.
Yeah, 2nd down.
Could be wrong. Chat will let me know.
It was 3rd down. I'm like, all right, 2nd down. That's a lot, bro. Like, you got.
Bro, you had me riled up at the crib, though. At the crib, I was on top of my couch, bro.
I looked at my wife. I said, "Yeah, man, let's go. We in here."
Yeah, give him that 15, baby. Yeah, they should have get. I believed in the whole 15 after that. After he ran him, I was like 15.
The adrenaline wore off, and he had that little.
He had one play.
He was like,
the next play, he might have handed it off or something like that.
Yeah. Next play, handed off, and then he's like, "All right, I got to go to the ground." Injury timeout. They're like, "Go down, go down."
Yeah,
what a tough guy though. He's tough as hell, man.
Yeah, but I think this coaching staff, they can turn it around. I mean, we got a great group of guys that can is starting to buy into this program. The first 5 games I think are all winnable. If you ask me, all the games are winnable. I mean, even Georgia.
I'm here a lot today, boy. Georgia catch these hands, man.
All right, cool.
Crazy, bro.
Hey, you don't have to look at that receipt until November.
Well,
just buy it now.
Going to Texas, I don't know. But there's a couple games in there that they mark us out and like we won't win, and we can really very well win those games. I think that. It's a one-game mentality. Every single game, just get better. Focus on that team. Like I know we got Miami, and then we got so and so, and just focus on Miami. Let's worry about Miami, and then we get to Sanford or whatever or whoever UCF. Just focus on that game, and let all the outside wash. And however we win the game, we win the game. If it's ugly, pretty, whatever, you got to just win the game at this point. I think we can pull off a seven game win season. But ultimately it's going to take everyone. It's going to take the players, it's going to take the coaches, the staff around the players, obviously, to come up with a good game plan. The guys got to be locked in when it's game time, and get back to Florida mentality. Like, stop letting people just push you around. Shit ain't gonna happen. If you got to punch somebody in the face, punch them in the face. Whatever, let's go. You know what I mean?
You got one shot at Miami, right? 08?
Yeah.
What was that like? And it was a home game. Is there a Miami fan presence in Lakeland? And then what was that game like? 08 in the Swamp?
Yeah. Somebody got mad at me in the barbershop because I said in order to like Miami, you got to probably be like 30, 35 or older. And like people like
Ahmad, we are 35.
Look,
we are 35.
You gotta be like 40
don't like Miami unless the only way a kid likes Miami is if their parents or grandparents like them. That's it. No one's jumping out of the womb and saying I like Miami anymore. Them days over with. But we do have some Miami fans here, more Florida State. But I just remember leading up to the game, man. It was just a crazy environment because obviously we heard about and watched the previous games with those guys. And Dan, what year was that when we was up like 31 to like 7 or something like that, and they came back and like 2004 or something?
Yeah,
2000. I beat up my roommate that year about that game,
03,
man.
02
that was like 03.
Yeah.
So you just watch all those games, and when you got Miami fans talking arrogant, and we was about to, boat race some people out of town, man, and they came back. It's super doable. So when we got out there, it was I'm just up to that point. That was as loud as I heard the Swamp, like on the field. Like I remember not being able to communicate with Major because it was so loud and really, really, really hard to hear. The fans showed up that night, but it was awesome. It was an awesome time. That was a game that It's not played every year, and we were having the opportunity to get out there and play it, and we won a national championship that year, and it was awesome. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's I remember that game pretty vividly because there was because that's when I was on the recruiting staff, and we just standing there in the end zone, and Carl Moore, and I think it's maybe the only play that I remember of Carl Moore had a down the sideline reception.
He was a first down machine.
It was that before halftime?
Yeah. I think it was right before halftime. It's not that he wasn't serviceable. I don't mean that, but that was like the one big play, and everybody went nuts.
Was that the one when they had a challenge and all that?
Yeah.
Okay. You reminded me. I forgot about that, Dan.
Yeah. That's
I was like right before halftime or something like that, too. Or something crazy.
Shout out to Carl Moore. JUCO, 5-star JUCO.
Carl Moore has some catches, though. Carl Moore.
I'm not saying that. Yeah.
Tim didn't look at Carl Moore until it was 3rd and 6 or longer, and then Carl would get that first down catch. Carl would have 6 catches a game, and 5 would go for first downs.
Listen, Carl Moore didn't drop a pass the first month he was in Gainesville. And I'm like, bro, it's 2 people that I ever seen like that. Carl Moore, Frankie Hammond. Frankie Hammond didn't drop a single pass the whole first 2 months he was there. So, yeah, man, good old Carl Moore.
Let me tie that Miami into this. So for me, this is kind of what I've gathered. Florida, and you've talked to or been around the team, they've bought into this new strength program. They've bought into the work that they've put in. A bunch of the guys, it almost seems like their motto, like, we're not trying to prove the doubters wrong. We're trying to prove ourselves right. If you lose to Miami, what does that do to a player's mentality? Do you start to think like, well, shit, like everyone else was also working hard in the summer and maybe what we just bought into isn't real? How big is that first game against a rival at home just for the psyche, the mentality of a team going forward with the rest of that schedule on the back end?
They gotta already know dudes are working. Like you gotta remember, it's always somebody bigger and badder than you, but you gotta close that gap. How do we close that gap? Maybe this person isn't the person that's bigger and badder than me, but I'm working extremely hard to try to close that gap to be able to be ready if that person happens to be Miami, right? And like I say, if you're already ready, you ain't got to get ready. So they should be right now attacking that shit, letting each other know, man, hey, we got to be ready every single game. Everyone wants to beat Florida. I don't care who it is. You don't think Texas A&M want to beat Florida? I mean, everybody does. LSU, Ole Miss. We smoked Ole Miss last time we played them. You don't think they want to beat Florida? So every week someone wants to beat us. Obviously people hate us on social media and whatnot. Hayes Fawcett picks anyone over Florida every year.
Next
Florida does seem to find their way into most of those graphics, Ahmad.
Ahmad, I want to bring on somebody that might have something to do with why Florida might be hated a little bit more, probably because of the success that you guys have. We got man. On the program, Urban Meyer joins the show. Ahmad, I didn't tell you that Urban was going to come on while you were here. Him and I were talking about it. I wanted to bring you on because, what a run you guys had. So, Urban, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, when you told me Ahmad was on, Ahmad is one of my favorite, not only players, but people, and probably the best tackling football player I've ever had, and great leader. And he helped me get my last win against Joe Paterno in Penn State with a pick 6. And he always reminds me of that. So
it's in our intro.
Now, Coach, I asked Ahmad, I said, they kind of zoomed into you on the sideline there. It looked like those eyes might not have been dry on the sideline after that pick 6. And I don't know if Ahmad wants to cop to that or not, but it looked like a little emotion on the sideline there.
Yeah, there was. And I can't remember my address. I can't remember my middle name, but I can remember every play in my career, and I certainly remember that one, especially with Ahmad.
I mean, that whole just leading up to that game was awesome. I mean, obviously, we had a lot going on that year, and to be able to finish it like how we wanted to was just it was great. My last game, coach's last game. A lot of those guys out there did it for us and for the guys that won't be there the following year. So I'm always in debt with these guys. I know Coach gets tired of me. I text him like weird stuff, asking him about Ohio State players. Like who was I remember? I think I texted him like how good was Braxton Miller one day, and I just text random stuff. So whatever pops in my head. Like I said before, when I first got on the show, I love talking football. So that Coach helps me with my fix.
I wanted to ask Urban why he's here. So Ahmad gives us the story all the time about how he got number 35. So I want to speak about just numbers in general. I know the number 1 is one the fans always chimed in about. I know you put heavy emphasis on that. What do you guys both think about the number 1 and how you gave out numbers, Urban? Like, what was that motivation wise? What was behind it for you?
Well, I love winning, and I love winning with great players. And numbers are very involved in recruiting. I'm not a big number guy, so I could care less. But I'll tell you what, that's one of the most important things with players. Even back then, it is now. I know that as well. Wow, there's a little bit of lightning behind us.
Oh wow, thought of something else. Then I remembered you're in Salt Lake City, so.
Yeah, but numbers are very important, and Ahmad wasn't that highly recruited. He was, quite honestly, just okay when he first got to Florida. So I was either going to give him number 67 or 35. So.
I remember vividly, just coming from high school, man, and able to, we're at Lakeland. We can number 1 team in the country in high school, or however they crack that stuff out. And the Pouncey twins would wear like Spatic cleats, and like we'll all wear like 2-3 socks and wristbands on our legs. I remember we got to Florida, and I think the Pounceys asked Coach Meyer if they could get like speed cleats. And he was like, "What are you talking about?" And visors was another thing. Coach Meyer ain't giving out no visor. You gotta do something before you get a visor.
Ahmad, you and Major have a great relationship, but I graduated high school, St. Thomas and Major. My God, we hated you guys. We hated you guys. 3 straight state championships.
Yeah.
I remember our senior year, Chris Rainey took like the first handoff to the crib, and then he started gator chomping in the end zone. And we were all like booing, and they were like, "All right, never mind. We'll back off for a second."
Yeah.
But what was that like, Coach? What was that like getting the Lakeland 7 in? Those guys who just had that winning mentality. They knew what it took to win at that level and to bring them into the program.
Yeah, I was blown away with the talent level of the state of Florida. And then back in my day, it was St. Thomas Aquinas, Lakeland every year for the championship. And we would have took the whole team, and we basically did the 1 year at the Lakeland Gator Knots, we used to call them. Bill Castle, one of my dear friends, I would go every year, spend a lot of time with his program. He ran it a lot like we did. He's very tough, very demanding, expected excellence, on and off the field, and he was great. And I'll tell you what, Rainey was the first one. Mm-hmm. And then I can't remember who was second, but once we flipped those Pounceys.
I think I was, let me tell you how it really went. So first of all, Rainey committed to Florida.
Coach wants to be like, Ahmad, you were the player to be named later. You were not second.
All right. First of all, Rainey committed to Florida, and I found out later, Coach didn't even offer him yet. So he committed without even freaking scholarship. So let's just start there. All right. Rainey was already fixed on Florida. He was like, hey, regardless of whoever offers me, whenever I get the Florida offer, I'm going to Florida. So Rainey committed without a scholarship offer.
I remember that now. I remember when he committed, I walked in the staff room and said, who is this guy? Is he any good? And Charlie Strong was the Lakeland recruiter, I believe. And it was Stan Drayton was our running back coach.
Yeah.
And Chris Rainey was about 110 pounds. But my God, he could run. And so we ended up taking him, and we love Chris Rainey.
Yeah, Rainey's awesome.
And I don't know if you remember Major's recruitment at all, but I had a class in Major his senior year. He was getting called out of class all the time. Coaches coming to talk to him. And one time he comes back to class, and we're like, who was it? He goes, Charlie Weiss. He was at Notre Dame at the time. And we were like, man, how'd that go? He goes, I told him he's down here wasting his time. I'm going to Florida. And I was like, does Florida know? He goes, no. So I don't even know if you know that Major was in the bag well before he went public.
Another funny story. So when Major committed, I was at Coach's house.
Do you remember what happened? He went up to the game of Ohio State against the Wolverines, one of the most legendary #1 versus #2.
Mm-hmm.
He was there. The Buckeyes win. They rushed the field, and I thought we had him too. And Chris Carter, who was a Buckeye but a dear friend, I coached Chris. Actually, you know how many people know this? I actually coached Chris Carter. I was a GA, but I coached him at Ohio State. We were very close, and he helped me a lot in recruiting. And when Major left Ohio State, Major told me too. He said, "Coach, I got a problem here. I don't know what to do." I was like, "Uh-oh." And we went to work on him, recruited him really, really hard. But he was flipped there for a minute, and we got him back to be a Gator.
Coach, how many people did you call in that national championship tunnel that before the game? Because I talked to Deontay Thompson. I know there's a few other guys that told me they got a call from you as they were watching the national championship. I know you always recruiting, but how many guys you called in the tunnel before y'all ran out?
You know, recruiting became a complete obsession with me down there. And I hired a guy named Mark Pantoni, who is with Ohio State now. I brought him with me, and he's the very best in the business. And I would always push our coaches and myself. I don't want to make that phone call and say, "Hey, how'd you play last week? How's your girlfriend? How's your grades? Okay, I'll call you next week." You just wasted everyone's time. That's not a phone call. You got to make an impact. Any opportunity you can to talk to a great player, and players remember that. And so, I mean, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. And the last thing I want to do before we're taking the field against the Oklahoma Sooners is someone stick a phone in my ear. But I told our recruiting staff, I said, nothing's off limits. Whatever, I'll do it. If you think now, and I got pissed sometimes. I said, make sure this makes an impact. And that's a pretty good impact. 5 minutes before that ball is about to hit the foot, to get a phone call from the field or whatever, in the locker room, wherever we were.
Hey, Silk, I wasn't good enough to get that call, man. I wasn't on that call list, so I can't tell you how that feels.
He paid you on your beeper?
Ahmad got an email in July.
Yeah, I got a piece of paper and said, "Hey, congratulations."
I'll tell you what, though, that interception you made against Sam Bradford, that proved you're good enough.
All right, there we go.
Absolutely.
Since we have you both on the show, you guys both had the unique opportunity to be on Swamp Kings. Talk to us a little bit about that process, because I know there was some talk early on, and then I know Urban, you and Tim signed off maybe a little bit later on into production, as things were getting started. What was that experience and process like for you guys? And was the show what you expected it would be after it was produced? Or talk to us just a little bit about that whole Swamp Kings documentary.
Yeah, they came to me and I said no. They went to Tim and said no. And I thought it was going to be one of those, those hit job, saying our players are bad guys and we had a bunch of thugs you start after a while, you don't care when you're working. And when you stop and you kind of reflect, so you talk about getting pissed off. I started hearing stuff going, that's not true. That's not true. Were we perfect team? No. Did we have guys that we do stuff they weren't supposed to? Was there also some unfair treatment? Of course there was. All the above. And so I told Netflix, I said, you might not want me on this because I'm not working, and I will blow this thing up if you start saying untruths. And she was great. And the whole production team said, Coach, I think at first they wanted us to make it into something like that. We found out they started interviewing our players. And I asked him for the interview sheet, I said, I want to know who you talked to. And I saw the list of players, and they're not the guys that were disgruntled. They're not the guys that maybe were kicked off the team. They're not the guys that didn't play, because that you're always going to have that. But it was, it was Brandon Seiler, it was Dallas Baker, it was, the Major Wright, Joe Hayden, Ahmad Black, some of these great players. And I started thinking about it. I said, heck yeah, I want to do this. We had the opportunity to play with one of the greatest players. I think, I'm biased, the greatest player of all time, Tim Tebow. You had arguably one of the greatest football teams in college football history. Again, I'm biased, but I've been around the game a little bit. That 2008 team, as good as team as there's ever been on the football field. And I said, hell yeah, we'll do this. And I thought they did a good job.
How it kind of started at first was kind of weird, because people always wanted to do documentaries and this and that and the third. Well, they wrote us on Facebook, which is super weird. So like, it was like one of those like filtered messages where like
that's how I ask people to come on the show, man.
It was like super weird. And then when you click on the page, it had like 1 or 2 pictures, and it was like they were from the UK. And I'm like, nah. Well, then I guess a couple guys had got it. And we start texting each other like, hey, is this something that we might want to do and whatnot? A lot of people don't know, but I know we would speak with Coach for like a month and a half or so. Every Thursday we would get on a Zoom call, all the players. And I think we had like maybe Timmy's attorneys on one time when we originally spoke with the Netflix people or the production company, just to, like Coach said, to make sure it's told the right way and not putting us in a bad light. And everything went well. I mean, all the guys that everyone wanted to see on there were on these meetings. Now, over time, maybe a guy or two would drop out for various reasons. We don't know. But ultimately, I think they did a great job of just basically showing what it took to be a Gator at that time and what it took to be great. Like Coach said, arguably one of the best teams to ever play the game. And people want to know how did you train? What did you do? How did you prepare for a game? What was it like on the sideline? What was it like off the field? And they got all of that in one documentary.
Coach, Brandon Seiler kind of stole the show, episode 1, with his personality, his story about when you thought, hey, Brandon's not doing what he needs to do off the field. Let me call his parents in. And his retelling of that story, I want to hear your perspective of what you thought it was going to be. Hey, I'm getting his parents into my office. We're going to set this kid straight, to how the meeting went down in your view.
Well, my coaching career, I coached at Notre Dame, then I went to Bowling Green, Utah, then Florida, and I was educated on life in Gainesville, man. I mean, it was something like I'd never experienced. And Gainesville can be, that downtown area, and I was kind of inundated with just stuff. When players were struggling academically, and here's my leader. He was without the doubt the leader. He's the alpha male of that team, and we became pretty close early on. But he was living a life that was not conducive that what I wanted our team to be. Nothing horrible, but just college life. And so I would chew him out. I'd get after him and rip his ass, and then finally, and it's worked many times over the years. I said, enough, enough. I'm getting your parents in here. We're going to get this shit straight, because you could be an NFL high draft pick if we just take care of yourself, man. And sure enough, his mom and dad, I set the meeting, and he told it beautifully. They came in, and I was ready to dive into the whole thing. And I mean, I got knocked back. His mom said, she called me Myers, my Myers. Hey, Myers, we came here to win a national championship and my son be a first-round draft pick. And she started pointing at me. And if you can't do that, I know you came from Utah, but this is Florida. And I mean, she's ripping my ass. And it goes on and on and on. You can tell they had a couple pops or something before they came in. And that was true. I remember I grabbed Brandon, I gave him a big hug and said, hey, keep doing what you're doing, bro. I got you. And let's try to keep this thing on the tracks.
It's a story that a lot of people don't know either. So when me and the Lakeland guys were getting recruited, obviously Rainey had an older brother, Rod Smart. So Rod played with the Carolina Panthers. When Rod would leave Lakeland to go back to Carolina, he would leave a car here for Rainey. So I just told my mom this like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, Mom, when you used to let me go with Chris Rainey, we would be in Orlando, and I would tell you I was down the road. Not true. I was in Orlando. But me and Randy would always go to Gainesville. And one time we went up there, we were still in high school, and Randy, just has a way with getting to people. He knew all the players already at Florida, and we end up somehow picking up Brandon Seiler. I don't know how we picked up Brandon Seiler in the car. I let Brandon sit in the front seat because I didn't want no issues.
I want no problem, sir. I'm in the back seat.
I don't want no problem. So I ended up sitting in the back, and I remember distinctly, Coach, I almost didn't come to Florida, by the way. I wasn't going to college. Brandon Seiler had on a tank top, and the size of his shoulders was something I'd never seen in my life. And I'm like, is this what college football players look like? I'm not playing. After this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he got in the passenger seat and he just, everything, just his arms, and I'm like, fuck. Like Coach says, I mean, he's the ultimate, alpha dog. You know what I mean?
How about Urban, that, Coach? Mickey Marotti was negatively recruiting you by getting your guys to lift weights without you even knowing. Just negative recruiting by your own strength coach.
Man, that whole team was just loaded with just like different type of guys, just like freak athletes, bro. Like I remember as a fan back then, as the message board were released, the Percy Harvin pictures, the Cornelius Ingrams, the Omarius Hines, like all those guys were just freaks, like physically. And you don't see that no more, but that was the era, like the 40 times that they would post, the workouts that they would post. Like we were all fiends for that stuff, fans wise, but it was just a different era of competitiveness. Like it was just on a different level at UF at that time. We're trying to get back there, but what's your overall feel for the team right now, if y'all don't mind me asking?
I think Ahmad probably knows more than I do. I'm really pulling for him. I know Coach Napier a little bit. Charlie Strong went to a spring practice and called me from the practice. They had Graham Mertz. I actually recruited Graham Mertz out of St. Louis. I think it was St. Louis or Kansas City. I really admire him as a player and a person. I think he's going to be great. The schedule's real, but if I was the coach, I'd probably, I wouldn't even talk about it. We in 2006 we had the hardest schedule in college football, and I remember as a coach, you internalized it because you thought, my gosh, but once you get going, it's day to day, week to week, and trying to keep your players healthy and motivated. And, so I'm pulling for him. I don't know enough about him because we spend most, Fox, Big Noon, we spend most of our time in the Big 10 and Big 12. But because it's the Gators, I certainly do follow them, and I'm pulling for them.
You busy next year, just in case? What do you rank yourself? What do you rank yourself all time, man? You in this era, you definitely, it was you and Nick Saban kind of I think you guys evolved the game, especially in recruiting, but it was pretty much you and Saban going back and forth with runs of Florida, Ohio State, and he was at Bama the entire time. But what do you rank yourself?
Corey, I don't, I'm not going to go there. Shelly's over here. She can come. She'll give me that.
Let's get Shelly. Let's get Shelly. Yeah, we'll take her.
Because mine is probably going to be the same as Shelly. So
now we're talking to the boss.
Question, please.
Talking to the boss.
We're definitely the GOAT show now. We got Shelly on, man. This is crazy.
We can only get the first another hour at this point.
Right? I'm not biased at all either. So just go ahead and shoot it out.
Totally
what would you rank Urban all time?
Oh, is this going to get me in trouble? No. Do I get dinner tonight? I would have to say third.
Okay. Who you got first and second?
Woody. I'm going to say Woody.
Okay.
Nick Saban and Urban. Steve
I like
Spurrier.
it. I like it.
That's a good order.
Here you have it.
Do I get dinner?
You're good.
Okay.
You get to cook it. Go Gators.
I don't know too much about Woody. I know a little bit. I was able to beat Nick Saban on coach team. I'm going coach number one. I don't. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know.
And here's one when Dan told us you were going to be on. I know that you don't need to politic for this, but I think it's past due to have your name in the Ring of Honor and have it up there in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium for what you did for Florida and your accomplishments at Florida. I think we are overdue for that honor, Coach.
100%.
Nick, I appreciate it, and I love the Gators, and I appreciate you guys having me on. And I told you before, we'll do it. I think last year I couldn't do it, but anytime.
Absolutely. Well, Urban, Nick, we appreciate.
I got one more story. So, Coach probably don't remember this, but I do.
He's trying to leave. Ahmad's trying to throw you under the bus, Coach.
It didn't matter anyway. So, Nick, you went to St. Thomas. I remember 2008, the year we won the national championship. St. Thomas played Lakeland in the state championship. Coach has no idea, right? No, it was in Orlando. It was in Orlando. Coach has no idea that all of us are kind of planning to go to it, but we have practice first, right? So we already know, like, we got it down to a science of what time we need to get out of practice, go get changed, get in the car, get to Orlando, and back, you know, because we probably have practice the next day or something. We get to like period 9, 10, and this shit's going like, in our mind, this shit's smooth. We almost there, like, fuck, we ready to hop on the road? Coach, you started fucking practice over from the beginning. I was like, wait, no. And we end up starting practice over. We hop in the car and get on the road late, and it was already like, that's the year that, I mean, they had both Bosa brothers were on St. Thomas. You had Chris Carter's son. You had James White played in the NFL. Giovanni Bernard played in the NFL.
Chris was the OC.
Yeah, they just smoked Lakeland that year. So, I mean, I guess in reality it didn't really matter. But Coach, I just wanted to let you know that you don't have to start practice over that day.
I saw a quote in a book one day that they had for me that said, I used to tell the team, we're going to have 2 really good hours of practice today. 2 really good hours. It might take us 4 hours, but we're going to get 2 good hours.
Pat Dooley and Robbie Andrew. I didn't cover Florida when you were there, Coach, but Pat Dooley and Robbie Andrew speak, I guess we'll call it fondly, of how long practices would go when they had media after practice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God.
Hey, one last story for you. So, and I think it was Coach Belichick. This is how good those guys were in 08 and 09. I can't remember if it was spring 08 or 09, but I tell people this story that we were if you had to say what was the drill that symbolized the Florida Gators was inside run.
Oh, God.
And you had the Pouncies and you had, you know, Carlos Dunlap and Spikes and we'd bring the safeties down with Ahmad. And I mean, it was
violence.
It was Vietnam, man. I mean, it was hardcore. And that was our signature. You know, people say you're spread offense. We were a spread offense that tried to hit you in the face as hard as possible. That's what we were. And the defense with Charlie Strong, Greg Madison, and that whole crew, we're going to hit you right back. And we had those alpha personalities. And every period, probably around period 7, period 8, everybody knew it was coming. We'd start blowing those horns, and I'd lose my mind. Everybody started going crazy. And we had Adazio and Madison and, oh, my gosh, Charlie Strong screaming at each other. The players start whooping at each other.
Yeah.
And I'm standing on the side. I want to say it was Coach Belichick. And we start going. And the whole idea is it's not tackle. You got to stay up.
Got to stay up.
And that first play, you had Tebow woofing at Spice going after him. You had the Pouncey twins and going after Rainey. And, I mean, and Ahmad jumping all, you know, everybody's going crazy. That first play was like something I've never seen. The amount of violent contact that took place, there's everybody's on the ground. I mean, it was like, boom. And I said, stay up. I'm going to warn you last time, stay up. And Belichick looks at me and says, I've never seen anything like that. And we second snap again, and it was even more violent. I blew the whistle. I said, you're done. Go. Get out. Go individual. Because that's you know, the number one quality of every great player, every great coach, and every great team is competitive spirit. And the one thing about 08 will forever be etched in my mind and heart. That was the most competitive freaking group you ever been around. They were not going to lose. So I'll leave you with that.
Awesome. Well, Urban, we appreciate you coming on the show and enjoy the rest of your vacation, and buy Shelly a nice dinner. Thank you. Ahmad,
I got one for you real quick before you run out of here too. On those lines, supposed to stay up. The clip, which looks like it was filmed on either a Sidekick Pro or a Potato, made the rounds of Major hitting Chris Rainey, and y'all still had the black stripes. Like, you guys were freshmen, hadn't earned your real stripe yet. What was that like? Because it looked like 3 years of losing the state championship, Major taking it out on Chris Rainey when Chris was like, hey, we're all standing up, right? We're all staying up.
All right, listen. Tell you this story. Only time I'm going to tell this story. So we had the black stripe. You mentioned the black stripe. So whenever you become a freshman at Florida or just getting to Florida, they give you a black stripe on your helmet. And you get a big brother as you get the black stripe, and, you know, you make a play or you have a great practice or you know, you do something outstanding to basically earn your stripe as a Gator, we'll have, because it's camp, so you're gonna be there all day. And at nighttime, we would have our big brother come up. You know, if you were picked to get and they'll take the stripe off in front of the team. I never got my stripe off.
You still got it
right now.
Still got his stripe.
Dog, listen, I never got my stripe off, bro. I think Dorian Monroe is my big brother. I never got my stripe off. It kind of went into
that's a wild big brother.
Nah, bro, listen.
Dorian went to get cigarettes and never came back to the stripe.
Oh, listen, I was just a complete bowl of crap that I didn't even get my stripe off. So as we get closer to the game, that first game, that Thursday, right? They give you your game helmet. Bro, my heart was beating all the way to my locker because I saw the game helmets in the other dude's locker. I'm like, bro, if they got my black stripe on, I'm gonna take that shit on myself, dog. I swear to God, I'm gonna take it on myself.
Oh man.
And it wasn't on there. And I'm like, fuck. All right, cool. And I'm on special teams a little bit. I'm like second on the depth chart and kickoff. And I'm like, all right. So when we play the game and when we come back to practice, my shit gone. So I never brought it back up. Obviously, I didn't want to bring it back up.
Listen, I don't need to bring that back up. We don't need to put the black stripe back on the helmet. Somehow Dorian did it on in his own dorm room. He took
I don't know. But when Major did that, man, it kind of, first of all, it immediately ended practice. So I was happy about that because at the time, remember, I was playing corner and there was no way in God's green earth he could have gave me freaking, Bolt's legs. I just wasn't fast enough, bro, to even guard anyone. I mean, our worst receiver my freshman year was probably David Nelson. Oh, by the way, he played like 6 years in the league.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Now you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like at the least, bro, when Bubba Caldwell already did his reps, Percy already did his reps, and then you got a Lewis Murphy already did his reps, and then B. James did his reps, and then you like, damn, I'm gonna get the sorriest dude, and it'd be Deontay Thompson, and he run the over route.
He ran a 4.240 and whatnot.
Hey, bro, I got a heater story real quick, man, and then I'm gonna let y'all go. So we in camp my freshman year, and usually typically guys go like 1 or 2 times, like the big name guys, you know, the starters and whatnot. So Joe just moved the corner. They got him going against Percy and Bubba, and you know, obviously he playing outstanding, bro. He's number 7 overall pick for a reason. You know what I mean? And dudes just going out. Now you're starting to get the second string dudes and third string. So I ain't get a rep yet, by the way. I'm just sitting over there. Dudes don't even want to give me reps. But it was towards the back end of the period, and now dudes kind of getting lazy a little bit. We were done before the period ended, and Bubba Caldwell just randomly just hops up because he wanted another rep. So they were like, hey, Bub need one. You know, go out for Bub. So I was like, fuck it. I ain't got to rep all day shit. I'm throwing my hand. That man, Coach Heater, looked at me. He said, Ahmad Black, get your ass out of there. You're my 7th damn corner in front of everybody. And I'm like, damn, number 7 corner. I went to counting, bro, and it's only 5 people. So I end up, it's going to get funnier. It's going to get funnier, bro.
Yo.
So I go in one day.
Do the head count.
7?
Bro, I had a meeting with Coach Heater, right? So I go in his office and shit, and I'm looking at the depth chart, bro, and it's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, space, and then my name. I'm like, yo.
Oh,
Coach, you got air at 5th string, 6th string?
yo.
Man, listen, bro.
In case of emergency break glass.
Bro, I was so embarrassed, bro. At that time, and the one time with Coach Heater, bro, me and Coach Heater like this to this day. I mean, me, Coach Heater, like, we all tight, but it's just so funny because dudes, we still be laughing because, like, dudes always be like, hey, man, I got treated bad. Like a D. Finley or something, man. We like, D, you don't even know what treated bad means. Let me just start there. Like, we got 2 of days. So we get out of camp. It was my freshman year. We had corners and safeties together after practice in the meeting. And I think Tony Jordan was like, hey, man, Coach Heater. The dude's still walking in or whatnot. It was like Wandy walking in late. Like, I think my key came in late. And he was like, hey, Coach Heater, man, we thirsty. I swear to God, bro, Coach Heater was writing something on the board. And that man looked halfway over his shoulder. He was like, hey, Ahmad Black, go get everybody some Gatorade.
Yo.
Hey, man. I said, Coach Heater. You got it, bro. I ain't going to, bro. Listen, to this day, bro, they still thirsty because I want to. That's why I drew the line in the sand, bro. I'm like, I'm sorry,
you gotta have some honor, man.
Right here, bro. Like, nah, you know what I mean? So
you gotta tell them that space above you can go get the Gatorade.
Get that shit. Like,
No.
man,
Six strings getting the Gatorade.
It was so crazy because like I even tell my brother and like how camp was back then. Like camp now isn't how it was back then. You know, for various reasons. Dog, you ain't leaving no alarm clock for like 3-4 weeks. It's no point even setting one. All you're gonna hear is an air horn. And then loud beating on your door. And not one time have I seen them run and knock on Percy's door like that, bro. People ain't knock on Percy's door like that. People probably Percy a little. You all right? Like, you know what I'm
Room service.
Bro. All this something, bro. You know. But man, them was the times, man. So I hopefully, Florida can get back to some of those great times and whatnot. That's what we all hope for. But I'm in that thing, Miami game. I got my
go. Give me a scope. Let's talk crazy.
I got my club seats already confirmed yesterday.
Okay.
We locked in.
Yeah, make sure you eat properly, man. They don't have any vegan options, man.
Vegan?
They don't have any vegan options.
Listen, he stopped living righteous years ago. Don't listen to him.
Once you left, all of a sudden.
Man, listen. You need you some. They have some good stuff up there.
Oh no, it's fire, bro. You just if you plant-based, if you don't want to eat a dogless hot dog, you gotta come prepared, man. What you got score-wise, bro, for the Miami game?
They got us -2.5. We got us +2.5. They -2.5. I think we win. I think it's on I'm gonna say 30-24.
Okay, I like that.
Ahmad's lies are in camp mode. You're a 1-score game. Ahmad, I need you with your chest on August 5th. We're 26 days away.
I just got an email. They telling me we can only get one field pass for the season. One.
Listen, I think the boys need Ahmad Black in their face either August 31st or before Kentucky, because I don't know that I know you don't know what it's like to lose to Kentucky, but a lot of these boys don't know what it's like to beat Kentucky yet. Might need 35.
Yeah, we got those wins back, man.
Kentucky.
We got no.
Stop it.
Hey,
stop it. Don't be that loser mentality. Stop it.
I don't know what you want me to tell you, man. They cheated.
Vacated wins
They cheated, baby.
Nick, so when you have kids and your kids turn 35 years old, and they look back and say, let me see what Florida did back in the day, and look in the record books, and they say we won. And who am I to dispute them?
Taking them wins, man.
Take it how we live. You know what I mean?
That's what the encyclopedia says.
Yeah, whatever it say, go. So
or Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Whichever's your bag. And we definitely hanging out pregame tailgate wise. We're gonna be right there off of University on what's the address? 2021 Southwest 23rd Street. We're about 9 miles away from the stadium.
9 minutes, not 9 miles.
No.
Not 9 miles.
Yeah. 9
you walk
miles
to the end of that street and you can see the track. You're right there.
Yeah. I meant 9 minutes. 9-minute walk to the stadium. We're right there. What is that? The track field over there? Track practice field?
Yep.
Yeah. We're
parked in that little where you always be at? In the little
No.
We actually got a house. So we're right off of I'll shoot you the address. It's actually on the graphic if you go check us out.
If anybody listening and they like one of the bicycle dudes, just go ahead and park it. Just go ahead and park it. Yeah, I'm gonna need a lift. So go ahead. If you're here, first one come. That's what we're getting money. I'm for sure gonna need a lift.
When we left the game last time, I leave the game with Ahmad and Major, man. We walking a long ass way, bro. So we just trucking, and I'm thinking like, hey, bro, I kept telling them, I said, bro, y'all need to stop somebody and tell them who y'all is. You know what I'm saying? Like to get us a ride. And they kept, nah, man, we don't like to do that, man. So one truck's driving by, and the guy said, is that Major riding Ahmad Black? I was like, hell yeah. He's like, jump on the back. So we ended up jumping on the back and getting like a 7-8 mile ride to where we actually parked at, bro.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. I mean,
that was a long night.
Me and Major, you don't realize, because you typically probably do it in the car. You don't realize how far that goddamn stadium is from that Publix on what is that, 34?
Oh, Frat Publix? No,
bro,
sir.
That's far.
Walking down second.
That's far.
That's a height.
Do it to you.
All right, man. Well, I'll see you tailgate, bro. I gotta send you over the merch. The merch, you got you on the merch, Snell and some others. But August 31st, 10 a.m., bright early, bushy tail. We hanging out. Big vibes.
I can't wait. Look, kids ain't coming with me, just me and the wife. We gonna hang out.
Y'all hanging out.
Yeah, we hanging out for sure.
Y'all hanging out.
I'm gonna drink a little bit. You know, I'm drink, Dan.
Yeah.
So
I know you don't. I know.
And Dan, find me something good, Dan.
I got you, bro. I got you.
And Dan, whatever you pass me, that's what we rocking with.
Anything for 35, you
listen,
know that.
That's a slippery slope, Ahmad.
That's a very
slippery slope at 11
right
a.m.
now, Dan.
You might turn into a bender, baby.
No. You're giving Dan the wheel. No. Let Jesus take the wheel. Don't let Dan
I'll
control your
be his
drinking at 10
designated
a.m.
driver for the day.
All right, cool.
Yeah, we'll get you to where you need to be. Awesome, Ahmad. We appreciate you, brother. Thanks again for everything you did for this show, man. And we're looking forward to having you on again, man.
Absolutely, man. Keep being awesome.
Hey, be
All
well,
right,
brother.
man. Hold it down,
Man.
Yeah. We about to put Black on the bender vibes, man. Hey, y'all keep chiming in with the super chats. We appreciate it. We'll get back.